Hey, fancy listeners. Franchesca Hampton here, and I am honored that you took time to tune in once again. And I'm committed to sharing content that will make you glad you did. So, welcome to the Fancy Thoughts Podcast, a weekly podcast designed to give you perspective, insight, and encouragement to release the greatness inside of you. I want you to live fancy life, where you are fostering achievement, never compromising you, because someone is waiting for you. Before we get into this week's fancy thought, you know how we do. Let's remind ourselves what we talked about last time. In our last episode, we asked ourselves, what is your reason? We wanted to make sure that we go beyond just motivation. We go beyond just getting started. We go beyond being hyped up, and we push because we know what is our reason, what is our measure, what is our determination, what is our justification for why we're doing what we're doing. And when we know that, it pushes us beyond our feelings. It pushes us beyond the moments where we want to quit. It pushes us because we simply know someone is waiting for us. Now let's get into this week's fancy thought. I'm going to let you know that today's episode has went through a lot of different iterations before it became what you're listening to right now. I think this is probably my 5th or 6th time recording it. I have went through multiple different titles to try and figure out the best way to bring this thought, this concept to the forefront. As we have talked about so many different things in releasing this journey, we've talked about doing it over and over again as many times as it takes. We've talked about go ahead and fail. Let it bomb. Don't allow the fear of failure. Don't allow the fear of failure to stop you from doing it, to stop you from moving forward. In fact, learn from that failure instead of trying to avoid it. We've talked about, not being afraid of the unknown. Don't allow different things that you have never seen before, or just because you've never experienced it before, stop you from stepping out and doing it for the very first time. We've talked about enjoying the journey, allowing ourselves, giving ourselves a moment to say, you know what, I made it this far, celebrating the small victories. We've talked about all of those things. So today's episode is entitled, Get Back Up. And I'm not just talking about, just try again. I'm talking about the decision that we have to make at the moment where our emotions are involved, where our mental state is a little shaky, at that moment where our feelings have been engaged because our experience has been unfavorable. I'm talking about the decision that we have to make when the business adventure did not go the way that we planned, and the money that we have placed into it is now gone. The money that we set aside with the expectation that it was going to have a return on what we invested, that money is gone. I'm talking about when you've poured out your heart and soul into an adventure, into a book, into a podcast, into an album, into a presentation or a speech, and it went seemingly horrible. And I'm talking about when the sales for that book or for that album are significantly less than what you had planned and estimated. I'm talking about when the attendance for that webinar or that speech is in record numbers of low. I'm talking about when you have poured out your heart and given your very best, and the result or the outcome seems devastating. I'm talking about the decision that you have to make in that moment. And I'm encouraging you to get back up. It's not easy. I'm not here to tell you some great and amazing formula that you can put together that's going to help you to just get over it. Because the title of this is not Get Over It. It's called Get Back Up. Because the reality is those same scenarios that I mentioned have the ability to knock you out of the game. They have the ability to take you out, to allow you to convince yourself that this is not the plan that was designed for you, to tell you and convince you, persuade you that you don't have what it takes. These situations and outcomes have the ability to completely derail your release of greatness. And the only way you're going to overcome it, the only way you're going to get back on track, the only way that you're going to be able to move forward is making a decision to get back up. For me, I've been in this situation so many times. I've been in the situation where I wanted to just literally ball up or curl up in the corner and just say, I'm done. Let me block out everything because I tried. I did everything I knew how to do. I put forth my best effort. I stepped out and took a risk. I did all the things. And this is what I got? This is what I have? This is what I have to show for it? No, I deserve better than that. This should have been better than that. This was promised to be better than that. And so I was faced with a decision. And for a while, my decision was sit in that corner. But at some point, I had to make the decision to get back up. When we're talking about the decision to get back up, there are two perspectives that we're faced with in that decision: retreat or recover. So in the example that I gave just a moment ago, me sitting in that corner, me curled up in a ball is me retreating. But me standing here today is me recovering. Let's look at the definitions to make this a little more plain. The definition of retreat is simply to withdraw, to retire, to draw back, especially for shelter or seclusion. When I saw that definition, I was like, that's exactly what I do when I'm in those moments. And I'm like, nope, no more, nope, nah, we're done. I withdraw, I retire, I draw back, I look for shelter or seclusion. Separate me from that. I don't want to deal with the feelings. I don't want to deal with the disappointment. I don't want to have to explain it. I don't want to have to try again. I'm done. We're done here, right? But the reality is you can't stay there. Because I don't know if you've never done it or if you're in that place right now, or if you've done it in the past. But the point is we all go through it at some point or another where we are forced or we are faced with a decision. Do we get back up? Do we retreat or do we recover? Do we withdraw or do we recover? So let's look at the definition of recover. I love this definition. It means to regain a former and better state or condition. To regain a former and better state or condition. It means that we're going to go back. We're going to start again, and we're doing it better. Not just going back to where we started, not just starting all over again, but better. Former and better. Learning from what we encountered, learning from what we went through, learning from what didn't work, and keeping what did work and getting better. I had to take it a step further by looking up the definition of regain. And regain is to get back into one's possession. So to recover means to get back into one's possession a former or better state or condition. It means I'm taking it back. Because recovery is not a passive thing. It's a forceful decision. It's an action plan. It's a movement. It is a decision that says, I am going to take back. I'm going to take back my success. I'm going to take back my confidence. I'm going to take back my boldness. And I'm going to be even better than I was before. It's a decision. Retreat or recover? Am I going to continue to withdraw and seek shelter or seclusion, or I'm going to take back what's rightfully mine? And that is my confidence, boldness, and assurance that I was designed for this, that I was purposed for this, that I was positioned for this. I have been equipped for this, that I have been called to this, and I will do this. And we do that by knowing our reason. See, all of these go together. Right? You can't get to the new place if you don't know why or what you're trying to accomplish. It's saying you can't, they say, if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. Why? Because how would I know if I got there if I have no idea where I'm going? I'm just wandering around aimlessly, right? But they also say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You have to try. You have to step out. You have to go for it. But you have to be willing to say, even if it doesn't work, it was worth it. I'll learn from it, and I'll do it again. Nobody is 100% successful the first time that they try everything. This episode took at least about 7 or 8 takes before it actually was recorded successfully. And I'm okay with that because I was determined to get this content out in the best way it was. And I want it to be completely and 100% authentic because I truly believe that understanding, I'm not speaking from a place of concept or hyperbole. I'm speaking to you from a place of experience and understanding. And I want to encourage you to get back up. So with that in mind, let me tell you another definition of retreat. Let's look at this in the Collins Dictionary. It says, if you retreat from something, such as a plan or a way of life, you give it up, usually in order to do something safer or less extreme. So that's when we're saying, you know what? Okay. You say, well, I didn't completely just give up. I just decided to do it a safer way. Maybe instead of, stepping out in full boldness, I'll go help somebody else. That's a little safer. I'll go, do it on a smaller scale because that's less extreme. But let me tell you, that's still retreating. Because you're saying to yourself, it's okay if I don't give it all that I got. Let me give out just a little bit. Let me give out just enough. Let me play it safe. You haven't been called to safe. You haven't been designed for safe. If you're on this journey with me of releasing greatness, understanding that there's somebody waiting for you, that there's something on the inside of you that somebody else needs, you haven't been called to safe, my friend. You have been designed for boldness. You have been called and designed to release the fullness of your authenticity so that the persons that have been designed to hear from you, to receive from you, get it. So, you need to recover. Here's another definition of recover. It means to regain the strength, composure, or balance of oneself. To regain the strength and composure. Let's focus on those two. To regain the strength and composure. And remember, regain means to get back into one's possession. So it means that you are getting back into your possession the strength you once had, and even better. The composure that you once had, and even better. You are taking it back and saying, nope, I was designed for this. I was created and qualified for this, and I'm going to get it done. My encouragement to you today, my friend, fancy listeners, is get back up. It is hard sometimes. It is unfair sometimes. It is devastating sometimes. It is downright cruel, it feels sometimes. But you have a decision to make. If you are committed to releasing greatness, if you are committed to doing something great, if you are committed to being who you are truly designed to be, you have to make the decision to get back up. We're not going backwards. We are going forward. We are regaining. We are taking back into our possession our former state and being better. You know why? Because through everything that we go through everything that we encounter, through everything that we are challenged with and yet push forward in all of that, there is someone waiting for you. Thank you for joining us for the Fancy Thoughts podcast. I'm Franchesca Hampton, and I look forward to you tuning in again next week. And remember, you are well able, fully capable, and properly equipped to accomplish everything you were created for. So go and make this week a great one.